Hello everyone, welcome to week 2 core. For week 2, we're going to be focusing on creating our grid and our coal. So to begin with, we're going to focus on our grid art. So go ahead and click on your grid. Then you're going to go into costume, and then you have the costume 2 that we have for our grid. So the first way that you can do it is you can go ahead and click on your paint bucket tool. And this is if you just want to go ahead and just redesign what's already here. So to do that, you just click on your fill tool. You want to go ahead and pick on a new color you want to use. So maybe I want to make my new one a purple. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my paint bucket tool and color all the different lines that I have. And as you can see, I'm changing my grid color to whatever theme that I would want. So you guys can continue working on this that way. You can also use the brush tool as well if you want to add different decorations towards it. So maybe I'll make this a little bit smaller. Maybe I'll add little decorations on the side if I wanted to. Just be careful not to change the actual size of the grid and the actual space for each of these little spots that we have here, because these have already been mapped out to make sure it's the correct size and distance for the player's movement and where the presents are going to show up. So that's why we want to be a little bit careful with not changing too much this inside and also the size of it as well. But other than that, pretty much anything outside of it, you can add little decorations if you want to as well. If you maybe want to add like little decorations inside of each of these little cubes, you guys can do that as well. But you just can't change these 4 different lines and the actual size of it while you're editing your grid. The second way, if you really want to make your very own one, I would suggest starting off by duplicating the costume. This will allow you to have a backup just in case something goes wrong. You have one that you can go back to and duplicate again and fix/work on. So once you're here, you want to convert to vector. And then we're going to use the square tool. And I'm going to remove, well, I guess I can just keep my outline here for right now just to show you guys. But I'll go ahead and just make a box. Once I've done that, I'm just going to go ahead and shrink it a little bit, just making sure that I can see the sides of every line. So it's about the same size. Once I start seeing it, I'll just move it until I can't. Okay, so I can't see it on this side. So again, I'm moving it back until I can see the line, and then I'm moving it just little by little until I can't see it anymore. So this is perfect. And then the last side. Okay. So once I'm done, I'm just going to use my select tool. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to move it back. This is just to make sure that I have the exact size. So now that I'm happy with it, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my line tool and I'm going to do a very similar thing that I did with the actual shape of it. So I'm going to use my line and I'm going to play around with the thickness. So this seems about the right thickness for the line. Maybe I can go one step above. So maybe a 5 or a 6. So I'm going to go ahead and test that out. Okay, so a 6 will work perfect. So I can hold on shift and click, and all I'm doing is adding the lines exactly where I see them. This is just to make sure, again, since these lines have already been mapped out and is the perfect distance for everything, we want to make sure that we're keeping that all the same. Okay. So once I've already traced all the lines that I see here, I can use my select tool, click on the original grid that I had, and I can go ahead and delete it. And now I have my new grid that I can go ahead and now customize even more, change the color, and do whatever else I want. Still keeping the same rules, which are keeping these 4 lines the same and keeping the size of the square the same as well. So take your time, create your grid, either a new one or redecorate what you already have for the original one. And for those of you, as an added bonus too, after doing it this way, if you want to have yours pixelated, you can go to convert to bitmap, and you can see that the lines already become a little bit pixelated. And then what you can do is you can grab the eraser tool, shrink this to a 4. And then with this, you can just go ahead and start deleting just a little bit of the corner pieces if you want, just to kind of make it have the same effect as the original. But other than that, once you guys are done creating your own grid / redecorating a little bit more, the next step is going to be adding code to it.